We enter the 6th month of the year, and Stadia, despite its detractors, is still alive and kicking as we enter the summer season of 2020. And the other day, they dropped the mic again. In fact, if last week didn't happen, this video would be very short, or to be honest, non-existent. We got our pro game announcements for the month of June, as well as an additional game coming for free for pro members. But will we see anything else be announced during the month of June? I'm Brian from Club Stadia, and we take a look at what's coming to Stadia in the month of June and what else, maybe, just maybe, on the horizon for Google Stadia. Before we get started, if you are interested in the latest news, analysis, and reviews on the world of Google Stadia from yours truly, don't forget to click subscribe. Get yourself notified by turning that bell on, and you'll get up-to-date notifications on when we go live with new content and live streams right here on this channel. Last Friday, we had episode number 4 of the Stadia Initiative, where we broke down some of the pro games coming to Stadia, a new APK unlocked for the Stadia Android app, as well as some movement in the world of Sega. So definitely check that out. You can find that in a link in the top right corner. I'm not going to attempt to point which side, because I'll more than likely be wrong on that. But here's what we're going to do for this video. We're going to talk about the Stadia Pro games that are officially coming out today. And yes, this video is out earlier than normally, just due to this, because the content of this video this week is dealing with the games coming out for the month of June for Google Stadia. And with that, we're going to release this a day earlier. Typically, we do Tuesday mornings at 7 a.m. Central Daylight Time for new videos. But new members and current members of Club Stadia VIP will get early access to this video no matter what, every single week. So if you join now, you will get early access to content like this in the member-only Discord. The month of May was probably one of the quietest months in terms of games dropping for the platform. When we did this video last month, the only confirmed games we had at the time were the games coming to Stadia Pro like Zombie Army 4 and the Turing Test, and a game in early access known as Ember. I was correct in guessing previously that Doom 64 would show up in May, and we also added a couple games from Thunder Lotus in the form of Jotun and Sundered. But was it enough to whet the appetite of Stadia gamers? Maybe, maybe not, but that is entirely up to you. If last month wasn't for you, and perhaps this month is, as we have 5 new games coming to the Stadia platform. And the best part is, if you're a Stadia Pro member, it won't cost you a single dime to play those games. Kicking off the list is a game I was heavily anticipating in the form of a Panzer Dragoon remake. Panzer Dragoon was originally released for the Sega Saturn back in the mid-90s, and this marks the first time this generation we have seen the Panzer Dragoon series show up. It was last seen in the form of Panzer Dragoon Orta, a game released for the original Microsoft Xbox, and in fact, it's there you were able to play the original Panzer Dragoon for the first time since its release on the Sega Saturn. For those unaware, Panzer Dragoon was initially released on the day of the last Nintendo Direct, and was a timed exclusive for the Nintendo Switch. Switch users were able to play this on-rail shooter, and to give something to compare it to, I've often used Star Fox 64 as the most basic one. The flight mechanics as well as the shooting mechanics are extremely similar. Within the confines of the very first game, a story isn't going to be what would bring you in, but the vast world you navigate with your dragon as you aim to take down enemies. The remake has been deemed quite often throughout the media for a lack of doing anything groundbreaking with the original game, holding back too much on the visual side of the game and its runtime, which can be found at under the 2-hour mark. It launched at about $25 on the Switch, and if memory serves me right, while it's hard for me to recommend buying a $25 game that gives you only that amount of time with the game, it's absolutely worth visiting it on Stadia Pro. You can maximize your replayability with trying to conquer your scores, and its quick runtime can make it easy to revisit often. Besides, Panzer Dragoon 2 is coming up next in the future, which means we are one step closer to Panzer Dragoon Saga getting a remake. Please, please Sega, let it happen. Next up, it's Morphin' Time! Stadia is knocking out quite a few games that were announced as coming to Stadia back during their launch this month, and next is none other than Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. Season 3 of the game is due soon and may launch with the release of the Stadia version or very near it. It's a tag team fighting game much like you may see from a Marvel vs. Capcom, and upon its initial release it was criticized for its lack of roster, its bare bones story mode, and some visual bugs. But time is good to us all in some aspects. While the story mode hasn't necessarily been built upon, the core gameplay experience has typically been lauded. The ever-expanding roster has been applauded as well. Its typical $19.99 base price, along with sale prices that hover near the $12 price range, has made it a very easy purchase for many that are fans of the tag fighting genre or Power Rangers as an IP. Whether we see Stadia Pro members get immediate access to Season 1 content or anything outside of the base game will be seen once the game's unlocked for Pro members. One thing is for sure is Battle for the Grid will launch with full crossplay across every single platform, making it the only fighting game to do so. So Stadia users will have no problem finding matches to play, as Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and PC will have crossplay with Google Stadia. And if it's like the other consoles, cross progression will come as well, but I can't confirm that outside of what Power Rangers does for the other consoles currently. I myself have held off on buying this game as I knew it would show up on Stadia, and now I'm very fortunate and lucky not to have done so considering its inclusion for Stadia Pro members coming in June. It seems to be a continuing trend here, but once again another short game enters the fray in the way of Superhot. However, short games don't necessarily equal bad games. Superhot has typically seen positive reviews from those who have played it, thanks to its very unique mechanics based on time bending, mixed with puzzling and the first-person shooting mechanics. Its graphical structure is minimalistic by design, and coupled with what many in the gaming community call it one of the most innovative games in the first-person shooter genre, makes it a highly anticipated title coming to Stadia Pro. Currently on other platforms, it sits at a $25 price range like Panzer Dragoon does, but will more than likely keep you entertained for far longer if that is your thing. Needless to say, Pro members get immediate access starting June 1st. Next up is yet another Stadia Pro game, and what did you expect? I literally said all these games were for Pro members. This one is called Little Nightmares. This one came completely out of left field, and it's the only game in the batch of games we get that we will discuss not to be previously announced as coming to Stadia, and it found its first announcement from the Bandai Namco Nordic's Twitter account just the other day when they dropped a random trailer. This was days before Stadia made their announcements for the games coming to Stadia Pro in the month of June, but that being said, people were excited for it. Little Nightmares is a 2D puzzle platformer based in the horror genre. Much like its spiritual predecessor Limbo, it takes you on a stressful, delightful journey within the platforming genre. It remains to be seen if this is the $30 complete edition currently available on consoles, or if this will be the game sans the DLC. This is also a good indicator that Little Nightmares 2 will find its way to Stadia as well when that launches later this year. This game is slightly longer than the other games on this list, but not by much, and Stadia Pro members can claim it starting today. Previously released but making its way to the Stadia Pro lineup is the couch co-op game that is simply a blast, and that is Get Packed. In Get Packed, while you can run solo, it's best to bring some friends as you go through the adventure of taking stuff outside of a home and putting it into a moving vehicle and racking up as much money as possible. I won't get too much into this, so if you want to hear more about Get Packed, you can watch the special edition of Keep or Refund I did with Eddie of Stadia Player One and Megatron X back during this game's launch. If memory serves, this game is typically at $19.99 and it unlocks today for free for Stadia Pro members. Much like Little Nightmares, we heard about the Elder Scrolls Online from a source separate of Google. Last Tuesday, a couple hours before Stadia would drop their weekly This Week on Stadia posts, ESO's official YouTube page had in their video description that Stadia was going to have ESO launch on June 16th. ESO has been a game long anticipated by the community at large for many reasons. Chief among those is the fact that it'll be Stadia's first true MMORPG and one set in the Elder Scrolls universe at that. Next is those prior fans of ESO know it's a data hog in whatever storage device you end up using for your desired console. This will not be an issue for Google Stadia. Its constant updates to the game is considered to be one of the biggest negative factors about ESO, and Stadia is at an incredible advantage in this regard. Elder Scrolls, when it launches on Stadia, will provide Stadia Pro members the base game and all content up to the Morrowind DLC for free starting June 16th. This will coincide with the launch of the new Greymoor expansion as well. Much in the vein of PUBG last month, this is just an extra cherry on top on the awesome sundae known as Stadia Pro. As of this video's writing and uploading, there are currently no deals in the Stadia store, but as touched on during the last Stadia Initiative episode, there was a new APK breakdown for the Android version of the Stadia app. Included in there was a list of sale categories, one being called Summer of Gaming. This is in reference to IGN's digital event they are hosting that goes by the same title. IGN's Summer of Gaming begins on June 5th, so I would anticipate quite a few sales about to begin as early as this Tuesday. I won't even begin to predict what games will see new sales, but one of them has to be Just Dance, as I lost a bet and will need to buy that game. So for more details on what the hell I'm talking about, follow me on Twitter at ClubStadiaTV to find out more in the coming days. But as I am the resident predictor around here, and needless to say, I was the only one of the TSI cast to guess any Stadia Pro games correctly, I have to make some additional predictions for the month of June. My longest running prediction currently is that we are getting a June Connect on the 9th, which, well, that would be next Tuesday. This falls in line with a lot of things out there in the gaming world that may come to Google Stadia. First and foremost is the aforementioned IGN Summer Gaming. While I can recognize that Google said the next Connect would be in the summer, and technically if it happened on June 9th, it's still the spring, but in my mind that's irrelevant. June 9th is the day after the first batch of the 2-month trial user subscription ends, and what a way to have them kickstart their subscription once again by doing so with additional announcements. E3 is also set to take place during that week as well, and it's also a great way to give some additional exposure to ESO coming to Stadia a week after. Game-wise, I do believe Monster Boy is ready to see the world, as the development is far along at this point that FDG Entertainment has shared latency loading tests on their official Twitter account. Granted, that could be the first stage of development, but this game has been announced for some time now and isn't going to take a whole lot to port over. Next up are the most recently announced games coming to Stadia in the form of Metro Redux 2033 and Last Light. Back in February, I predicted these games to follow the third game in the series, and I happen to be right on that, so my belief is that these games have been in development as coming to the platform for some time now, and we could see them sooner than later. They may opt to go to the Tomb Raider or Steam World route and offer one of these for free in July and have users buy the final game in the series to complete the collection, but I think with the month being so top heavy and nothing slated for release past June 16th, this would be a good placement for these games. I believe I said it last month, and I'll say it this month, but I believe RBI Baseball 20 is coming to Stadia in June now. I know it's a cop-out to keep doing this every month, but I'll say this will be the last time I predict it. Otherwise, this game may just be canceled on Stadia. The current events in the world may be preventing this game's release as we get dangerously close to what would be the MLB All-Star break if it doesn't release in June. And at that point, is it even worth releasing a baseball game? But I want to know, what are your thoughts on the games coming to Stadia Pro in the month of June, as well as my predictions? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Give me your predictions, what games you're excited for, and maybe I'll reply and say you're wrong, because when it comes to predictions, I feel like I'm the best at them, even though I get most of those wrong. I don't know why I said it, but the fact of the matter is, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section below. I do want to thank the Club Stadia VIP members that you can see on the screen right now. These people go a little above and beyond for some reason, and they think I'm worth investing their time and money for. And it's not just them, but it's everyone that clicks a video of mine or clicks on my profile and, spends their time, because there's many videos you could watch on the internet, but you happen to be here. And I want to thank each and every single one of you for doing that, because it's very humbling, and I'm constantly amazed at this community. And before I ramble on even further about that, I'll just stop right there. But the Club Stadia VIP members you see on the screen right now, they get early access to videos like this. They get exclusive emotes in the live streams that we do here on the channel. And they also get these little shout outs. So I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for your support, and it means more than you could possibly imagine. As I mentioned before, though, the easiest thing you can do is get subscribed, because that's the easiest way you can find out about new videos like this. Like this video if it helped you out, and share it with a friend that is interested in some of these Stadia Pro games coming to the platform in June, or maybe a friend of yours that just won't stop complaining about the updates to ESO on their favorite console, because you don't have to do that. You don't have to worry about that here on Stadia. So, these are the kinds of things that are going to sell this platform, and I think that is going to be a big head turner when it comes to its release on June 16th. But lastly, I want to thank you guys, as always, and party on.